Isn't it great that everyone's chosen to be in the same room here tonight? Because a lot of people registered and you guys decided to show up, right? You guys are the ones who decided to be here. You decided to say yes. You decided to take action. And when I thought about what I was going to talk about during this speech of mine about change, I looked back over the last year of me running my business full time. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Emily. I'm a voice and communications coach. I founded Speak Voices. And my mission is to really empower people to be confident to speak and to be able to express themselves authentically, to help people with public speaking, help people with communication skills. And with this whole theme and this topic of change in mind, I looked back at running my business and I thought to myself, well, what is change? What does change mean to me? And also, how has change helped me over the last year? So this was one of the things. Yeah, change. Change is basically starts with you, right? Okay, so ever since you were born, we have encountered like countless moments of change. And it's one of those things where it's in our human nature to constantly change, to constantly evolve. And I think when it comes to changing these, one of these things, we have to think about ourselves. And when we think about ourselves, we have to ask ourselves this question. Firstly, do we want to change? So that's what you have to ask yourself. Do I want to change? Some people don't, and that's completely fine. But do you want to change? And then, when we think about change, this is what I was talking about, trying to find this definition or this meaning of change. And for me, change is really having a belief or taking some action to be able to grow and adapt and to be able to be a better version of ourselves. It could be a problem that you want to solve, right? So I would just like to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. You just take a moment to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And if the answer to the previous question is yes, I want to change, then just have a think about what it is you want to change, right? Think about the one thing that you want to change. It could be your health, it could be your finances, it could be your friends and family, it could be your lifestyle, it could be work, it could be any one of these things. And remember, you are the captain of your own ship. You are in charge of your own life. So, you had a magic wand today. You wanted to change something in your life right now. Have a think, what would it be? What would that be? And really start to visualize this in your mind. The environment that you can see. The feeling of everything after you've changed. And just notice what happens. Notice what happens to your body. Notice what happens to this feeling. Notice what happens to the environment around you. Just allow yourself to take that deep breath in and out. And just open your eyes and come back to the room around you. Just hold on to that thought for a moment. Because when you decided that you're going to change, it means that you're one step closer to changing, right? And I think this leads me on to my next point, is change is taking risks, even when you don't feel like it. So for me, before I was running my business full time, I was working as a supply teacher. I had to make that jump. Only at 7 o'clock in the morning, every day to the teaching agency, wondering if there was work, wondering if there wasn't work. And I think the inconsistency of me trying to find work and then the stress of me being at work as a teacher and trying to battle the mental health every day, it was just a little bit too overwhelming. And for me, the idea of just taking that risk to change. It's one of the biggest changes I've had in my lifetime, going from a job that had routine to be able to then navigate something where I was really unsure what was going to happen. And I think the last time during this whole of this last year, actually, it was me trying to navigate that, but also thinking about, okay, well, what do I do? Because with taking risks, it's all about the unknown. We don't know where we're going to go, but we try and create a plan sort of along the way, whatever that is. And when I was trying to think about this change, think about how am I going to do this, it led me to think about another part of change, which is change is how we communicate to ourselves. Now, even though you feel uncertain of what is going to happen, you feel that you're in this process, you're in this journey trying to figure everything out. It's almost like you just don't know how you're going to do it, but somewhere along the lines, you just figure it out along your way, and it just propels you forward. Every step you take is changing. You know, you're changing something along the way. You're thinking, oh my gosh, and that's where you feel more inspired. You feel more motivated about yourself to change. And I think this is the distinct difference between success and failure as well. Because for me, I had to restart this business idea twice. So back in 2018, I graduated from a master's invoice after I did it. And I dabbled with this business idea for about 9 months or so, just to test the waters, just to see whether I liked coaching people. And I found out I loved coaching people. I loved teaching people about the voice, what their voice looks like inside, teaching people how to articulate themselves properly, be more engaging and more inspiring. I worked with lots and lots of people. But one thing that stopped myself was me thinking that I wasn't good enough, me thinking that I didn't have enough experience to call myself an expert. So then I just stopped. I went into teaching. I got a teaching degree. I stopped that business idea, and then after COVID, at the end of 2021, I was like, okay, I'm going to move to London. I'm going to restart my business, right? And then I moved to London, and what happened was, well, I thought, well, London's really expensive. You have to pay your rent, you have to pay your bills, and I was like, let me just hold on to the thought of my business for a moment. Let me just be financially stable in this teaching. So let me just do this teaching job for a little while. This little while turned into 3 years. And I was like, oh my gosh, like time has flown by. And I've not done anything about my business idea that I had like in 2018. And then what happened was I got to the point where I really hated teaching. And there was this particular moment, this teaching incident, where I just stopped. I quit teaching altogether. And I forced myself to have a conversation with myself. And I said to myself, well, just think of all of the reasons. Why is it good to have a business, right? Just to write down all the pros and cons. Think of all the reasons why I want to start my business. What is it good for? And the more reasons I wrote down, the more I could see I could give people something to offer me, something of value, right? And my business idea wasn't just, okay, I'm going to teach people about public speaking, I'm going to teach people about communication skills. It's really thinking back to how I was as a child. So me, I struggled to communicate. I didn't have a voice. Every time I tried to put my hand up to speak, it was like I was hesitating. I just couldn't do it. I didn't say anything out loud. So from my own personal experiences, and having all of these different reasons, that's when I was like, okay, my business actually matters. And it is important and people should know about this, but people don't. So then that became my mission, to be able to not educate people and create this awareness about how important your voice is, and to be able to find your voice as well. And then this leads me to the next thing. Change is in the being and in the doing. Because when I first started out my business last year, I was like, okay, let me do something. So that means I'm taking action. When I take action, that means I'm changing, right? And yes, that is true. I was sending out all of these emails. I was trying to create a long to-do list, trying to tick off, trying to hit my goals and my targets. And everything was just do. I was spending Monday to Sunday just working on my business. But we are called human beings, not human doings. And they say that actually when you just take a shower or you're sitting on the toilet, the best ideas come from those moments, because you're free from doing anything, right? You're present in the current moment, and this is where the unexpected change happens. You suddenly, a person that said no to working with you ages ago suddenly turns around and says, oh, I want to work with you now. The person or the problem that you're trying to solve, and you tried to solve it for a long time, you can now magically solve, and everything feels like it's falling into place. And this is what I realized when I took the time to really reflect and like create a space and time for myself. I realized when I was teaching and coaching these one-to-one programs, and when I had my clients, they needed extra support, because I would just have an hour session with them once a week, and within those 6 days, they wouldn't really see me at all. And I was like, well, they need the extra support, they need the extra guidance, the motivation to be able to practice all of these skills that I'm teaching them. And then this also made me realize that actually I love teaching one-to-one. And now that has become my USP for my business. And all of these things didn't come from doing. It came from me just being and reflecting in the moment. And obviously when you're being as well and doing, sometimes you get stuck. And this is where you need people to help you. And change is the people you meet along the way. So I know for a fact that the whole of the last year, me trying to create my own website, me trying to do SEO, me trying to do marketing, I mean, I could learn to do it, right? But obviously, if you have people to help you, you can progress in your business a little bit quicker. And in terms of trying to create this, all of these people in this room can somehow help you. This is what networking is great for, right? Someone in this room will help you, guide you, and point you in the right direction. Somebody in this room would be your mentor or your coach, who will be able, and you can work with them. Somebody in this room could give you a golden nugget of information. You go, oh, great, fantastic. Okay, you can use this for my business now. And this is what happens when you utilize all of the people in the room. And if you have a problem that you're trying to solve, if you can't find the person in the room, I'm sure a person will know another person who will know another person who will know another person who can solve that problem for you. So never feel like you're alone and you're stuck in the world of creating your business. Just reach out, just ask someone. It just starts with a conversation. So just before I wrap up my little speech, I just want you to take that time again to reflect. What do I want to change? And also, how can I help somebody else and change someone else's life? Because when you're on that journey of change, you might be looking for change, but it's also important to help another person. When you're helping another person, you are creating more opportunities for yourself to change as well.